Hello and welcome to Game Day from the UK, another Miami Heat UK live pre-game streaming show. Here tonight to preview the game against Boston Celtics. Guys, it's been a little while. Sorry, we've had lots going on. We've had work stuff getting in the way. We've had illnesses getting in the way. We've had World Cup football, not soccer, football getting in the way. You know, lots have been going on, but we're back tonight. It's great to be back, and I've got a great squad with me tonight. Let's introduce the cast. Mr. Ollie Rahimi, moustache and all. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thank you. On the last day of November, but I'm considering keeping it.
Oh, mate, it looks good. It looks good. It suits you very well. And the proud Iranian flag behind you. You boys did well, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Sam Post, how are you, sir?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Haven't caught much basketball last few days because I've been very ill, but I'm hoping tonight it's sunrise.
The lurgy is well and truly going round. Yeah, I've had it on and off for about a month. Just cannot shift it. It's really, really weird. So great to have you back. Glad you're feeling better, man. Glenn Smith, how are you, sir?
Yeah, alive, surviving, just about. Not too great myself, but we move. Ollie, I hope like the missus likes your moustache, mate. If that goes, then you can keep it, can't you?
Yeah, man, it's all good. It's all good. I'm in good books.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, great to have you all back, guys. And we meet again in good times. 3 wins on the trot for the Heat after 4 road losses on the trot. The Heat are back on the road tonight for a double header against the Boston Celtics. We'll come on to that in a minute. But as always, let's just reflect on what's just gone. We'll sort of not necessarily cap on the very last game. We'll just look at things in general over the last week or two after Heat rack up 3 wins, 2 against the Wizards, 1 last time out against the Hawks. But Ollie, I'll start with you, my man. Bam Adebayo, back-to-back 30-plus games. This is the Idris that we signed up for. Most importantly, you know, he's stepped up offensively when Jimmy Butler's been out, when he's needed to step up for us. He's been aggressive in the paint, which is what we wanted. But most importantly, at the post-season or pre-season, however you want to call it, presser, Pat Riley said, this man's got to start putting up 15 shots a game. Guess what he's doing, Ollie? He's putting up 15 shots exactly per game. That introduces a whole new level to his offense, and we've seen it recently and reaping the rewards from it.
Yeah, it really does. You know, we've all clamored for Bam to be more aggressive in the past. You know, take more shots, because when he gets more shots, he scores more points, obviously, because he's a very efficient shooter. And he's so talented around the rim. He's got a really soft touch, but he's also got that power that he can just blow straight through defenders. So, yeah, I mean, his performance in the last couple of weeks has been really phenomenal, and he's really stepped up when we've needed him to. Obviously, missing Jimmy, Tyler's been out. We've had a lot of our scoring not being available. And with Kyle, to be fair to him, doing really well of late, but with the inconsistencies that he has shown in his career with Miami, we've needed Bam to step up and be that dependable scorer that we really can rely on going into games that we should be winning, to be honest. But for whatever reason, we're struggling to at the moment. So seeing him put up 38 and then another 30-point game, like, it's really encouraging, because we know it's in there. We know he's capable of doing it. He might not need to do it every night, but the fact that he is doing it now and it's contributing to winning basketball is really positive. And another thing that I've really liked is the relationship that is developing in front of us between him and Tyler Hero. Like, their connection has always been really good, but it just seems to have taken a little leap in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, they're just dynamic. Like, Tyler's ball handling is really improved. His playmaking is a lot better. And Bam, as a roller, screen and roll man, is one of the best in the league. And his finishes on some of the lobs from Tyler have been really impressive. So I hope that continues. But yeah, Bam's being more aggressive. We've all wanted it for so long. All of Heat Nation has. So we're getting what we want now, and we're starting to see the rewards from it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's something that even Bam himself has brought up, because the relationship between him and Tyler, Sam, is a glimpse to the future of what we're expected to see. They're both very, they're both excellent players in their own right. But that relationship, when you look at the fact that once Jimmy's timeline starts to end, they're going to start looking now at this being their team, their franchise. And Bam even made a point of bringing that up, that the relationship, not just on court, but off court, is very important. They sit together, they room together. So in Tyler Hero's comeback, what have you made of his personal comeback as well. A triple-double last time out. He looks to have got back into the swing of things quite quickly after showing some initial rustiness, which is expected. But that relationship with Bam is massive for what's going to come not only this season but in the future for the Miami Heat.
Yeah, for sure. And with Tyler's comeback and his performances recently, I've especially been impressed with how he seems to have developed as a playmaker. I think that was one of my main questions about, can he do it this season? Can he really kind of add that element to his game? Triple-double. Yeah, I can't complain about that. He's putting up some really good playmaking numbers. As a pick and roll ball handler, he's improved so much. I think that's probably been his biggest leap so far this season. And in terms of his fit with Bam, it's seamless. As we move on to later, kind of in both of their careers, they're going to continue to grow together, continue to get minutes together, and the fit will look even better. If they're going to be our two guys, if they're going to be our franchise guys, that's completely fine with me. They both look like they play exactly how we need them to play to really lead this team. And especially with, I think a really big thing with Hero is his rebounding. He's been fantastic on the end all season. He's one of the better rebounding guards in the league. I reckon if he can continue to develop his playmaking as well and continue to add all those other elements to the game besides the scoring, then they're going to be really, really, really good duos like for years and years to come.
Yeah, this is the thing because Tyler's, he's received criticisms this season for maybe going a bit too ISO, too much, being just looking to score first and nothing else. And I think that's the perfect way to have come back and answered those criticisms he's come back because his scoring hasn't been off the charts. It's just ticked along the last few games. But, as I said, the rebounding especially is something that, rebounding guards, that's an important thing to add to the modern NBA. And the fact that he's assisting as well, taking some of that load off of Kyle. Of course, turnovers, both he and Bam, his turnovers have gone up recently, but you can expect that with the ball in their hands more. So, it's an interesting development to see how they get on. Glenn, one person I can't ignore when we're talking about, lauding praise on this team, which they deserve for the last few games, is Caleb Martin. I mean, we talk about, step up to the plate when needed. As I said, we know that he's not expected to be this PJ Tucker, even though he's playing in that position regularly. But 20 plus games over the last 3 games. His contract situation, 6.1 million this year, 6.8 next, 7.3 the year before. That's about as good value as you can find league-wise. Caleb at 26 years old, I think. What a find, what a gem. He continues to give this team nothing but energy, but also production as well. Now, what have you made of Caleb's rise over the last few games?
I mean, even in the fourth quarter alone against the Hawks, he looked swaggy. He was stepping into some threes there, looking fantastic. I think it was him that did the little over-the-head pass towards Strus that ended up being ruled out of bounds, but we'll ignore the pedantics. In that last game, he's out-rebounded Bam. He's not that matters when Bam's scoring 32, but it goes to show where he is every part of the floor. Man, what a find. And as you say, he is the steal of the year as far as I'm concerned. I can't think of another player in the league who's on that sort of money, putting up these sorts of minutes and these sorts of important minutes in these games for the Heat when they're down by a good few players, good few superstars as well. Yeah, Caleb's been crazy. I mean, if we end up going and picking up his brother at the end of the year or something, and if they're both that good, then, it'll be a duo to go with, other than in the past we've had Goran and Zoran that didn't quite work out the same, but we can hope. Yeah, he has been incredible. And again, another person I'd like to just give a little hat to, Dwayne Dedmon came in and performed fantastically. Again, 6 rebounds, something like 14 points for the man in 14 minutes. You've got to be nothing but impressive that you come in and you're the secondary to Bam Adebayo and you put up those numbers. And we've taken the Mickey before with his foul situations and some questionable hook shots, but fair play to him, man. It's nice to see these guys get into it and performing well.
I'm glad you brought up the mechanic because I've got a few little trigger notes here, and I thought I've got to give some love to some of the guys that we don't talk about as often as maybe we should have, especially in the right light. And Dedmon's one of them, and I'll come on to him in a minute. But yeah, Caleb, you're right. I mean, I remember when he signed that contract in the summer, and I said then, that is going to prove to be a really good value contract, and he's exceeding it massively. So he's helping the Heat massively at the moment, and you're not really designed to do that. You're a role player, but you're becoming a really important piece to picking up W's, and you don't expect that from guys that are on a very limited amount of contract or of money, etc. So tip of the hat massively to Caleb. As I said, contributing towards wins. That's fantastic. Ollie, Sam, I'm going to leave the Dedmon to you, but Ollie, I'm going to talk to you about Nikola Jovic because we've seen a little bit of a run of him now. As I know, you're a big fan. Me too. He has shown plenty of promise, but Spo continues to not use him a lot. He's averaging about 12 to 14 minutes per game. Didn't appear at all in the Hawks game despite being available, but not being used at all in the crunch times, in the fourth quarters or anything like that. I sort of get it. Is defensively not really what Spo wants at the moment. Is good to fill in starter minutes whilst we're struggling for injuries. But, do you think that long term Spo will trust him to maybe get these things right as he starts to develop part of the NBA game? What do you think is going to happen with Jovic going forward as a long-term project?
I've said, as you just alluded to, from when we drafted him, I've been a really big fan of his and his skill set, the ability that he's got at the moment as a 6'11", 19-year-old. Like, that's phenomenal. His ability on the ball is really special. But, obviously being so young, being a rookie, and, his frame at the moment, he hasn't filled out at the moment. So it's understandable why Spo's not using him. He can be bullied at the moment, and I think teams probably will target him, especially if he was going to be played in the fourth quarter. So I totally get Spo not playing him as much as maybe I and a lot of other Heat fans would want him to play. But I think going forward, as we mentioned a minute ago, with Bam and Tyler being the future of the franchise, I fully see Jovic in that conversation with those two. And I think that those three, if developed well, which I'm sure they will be because it's Miami Heat, that they will have a really bright future, the three of them. And we saw a little bit, there was sort of a little taster of what Jovic can do with the starters. And when he was in that group with Jimmy, Kyle, Tyler, and Bam, it was phenomenal. Like the chemistry, the ball movement, everything about it was perfect. And if he can fill out and add a little bit to his defensive game, then that is probably the perfect four next to Bam. Because if he can score as well as he has shown in the past that he can do, then maybe it takes a little bit of that impetus away from Bam, and Bam can focus more on his defensive game, which is obviously what he is phenomenal at. That's his bread and butter. So I think him and Bam can complement each other really, really well. And yeah, looking forward into the next couple of years, I'm really excited to see him develop. But I'm not expecting too much this year, just because he's quite small. He's obviously very young, and he will just have to learn the league. And you've seen the same with Nikola Jokic in Denver. It took him a little while, but when he got there, phenomenal. Doncic is maybe an exception, but I think we can expect that sort of same level of development from Jovic, and hopefully it will be good news for Miami in the future.
Yeah, I completely agree. It gets a little bit frustrating in times where you feel like you need to pick up points and you're trying to get a lead or trying to claw back a lead because you feel like this guy could actually contribute towards that. But I do get where in the tight games he's not being used in the crunch times because he's got to develop that. He's got to build out. He's got to fill out a bit more, and he's got to become a bit more defensively astute. But I'm just blown away really by his basketball IQ, his playmaking skills for a guy that's 19, that's played a handful of games. I think that just shows the how well utilized players can be picked up from these European leagues because they're rocking and ready to go straight from there. So did you want to say something else, Ollie?
Yeah, just on that European thing, I think the difference between coming from college and coming from Europe is that in Europe you're playing against men, you're playing against 30-year-old men, and in the college game, you've got 17, 18-year-olds through to 21, 22. So you have to develop that understanding, and you have to be able to know how to use your skills to get the better of people that will be able to physically dominate you. Obviously, that jump is huge in the NBA, but I think that's really what has fared well for Nikola so far.
Yeah, 100%. And interesting and exciting times coming for Nikola. So before we come to Celtics game, one more question. As we said, Sam Deadman, look, we've given him his stick many a time on here, but let's give him his flowers here because he has been producing in limited minutes. He's been effective. His plus minus is ahead, which is unusual for Deadman 100%. We don't normally say that about him. But one thing that cracked me up, and I think it sums up really well, I think Chef Trilly put it, that every time he hits a free, he then goes into pure hooper mode and does some sort of random sort of sky hook or something like that. And at the moment they're working. So a quick mention on Deadman. We have to say, yeah, great stuff from him. But also very quickly, your thoughts on players like Jamal Cain or Drew Smith, maybe especially, because they've come in and shown real good production in limited minutes for rookies that are filling in. They're showing that they can do a job for a handful of minutes in this league and during this stretch. And when we're short-handed, again, this is what you need from these guys. I'm really pleased with them.
Yeah, Devon's been really impressing me. I'll be honest, I did not expect this. He's kind of doing everything that you want a backup big to do. He can shoot a bit, he can protect the rim. He's for sky hooks and everything. I'd rather not see live, but if they're going in, it doesn't matter too much. It's another big body on the roster, and if we struggle with rebounding, if we struggle a little bit with paint protection, having a guy like that that's performing at this level right now, I'd take that 10 times out of 10. Similarly, I would have liked to see us keep Orlando Robinson, as you mentioned about the guys who are undrafted. I feel like if we keep him around in the Skyforce program, he'll eventually find his way back to the roster. We don't know what's happening with Yurt 7 yet. Maybe it's a situation where we just don't need another big in the roster because Yurt 7's coming back. Drew Smith and Jamal Cain, I've been really impressed with. Hayward Highsmith had a couple of really impactful games. I think there's a lot of people that are following the kind of Caleb Martin, Yurt 7, even Duncan Robinson trajectory of becoming a really, really impactful player. I feel like the next few weeks, as we kind of get into the crunch, get into the bit of a season where everyone's playing a lot of minutes, the games are quite tough. We're going to see a lot more minutes and a lot more load management from our stars. These guys will have a much better chance and a much bigger opportunity to go out there, get a load of shots up, prove themselves. And I think by the end of the season, and maybe come playoff time, we see a couple of them crack rotation, and we really see how they can develop and their ceiling and projection as an NBA player. There's a lot of guys right now who I think really could help us out later on.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. I mean, they're guys that we can go down to this sort of level even when we're struggling for injuries and still find these guys that can just pick up handfuls of minutes and actually produce some good stuff. So, I've been impressed definitely with Drew Smith. I think you watch his game closely, you can see what he's done. He's definitely a Spose sort of player. He's been moulded into that way. So, yeah, great stuff from them. Let's come on to the Celtics game tonight then. Glenn, I'll start with you. Look, no Jimmy Butler tonight. It's going to be tough. Celtics are off the charts, the best offensive team in the league. They're averaging 120 points per 100 possessions. That is ridiculous. I think I even heard that that's league history there. To see that sort of plus from a team is incredible. Tatum obviously is playing at MVP level, and with no Jimmy Butler tonight, that makes it very tricky for who's going to guard him. Because what do you do here, in your opinion, Glenn? Do you stick? The initial reaction would be, okay, no Jimmy, maybe stick Bam on him, but then does that do you pull Bam away from the rim, and then you're going to get cooked with Caleb Martin guarding Horford? It's going to be a strange sort of matchup there. What do you think here that the Heat do fundamentally to try and keep the Celtics down to what they're extremely good at, which is their offense?
I mean, as Sam alluded to, this is the kind of time where I don't like it as a long-term roster, but a night like tonight when you're missing out on Jimmy Butler, it's almost the kind of night where you want to have Bam and Devin playing at the same time, so you can utilize Bam as a defender initially, and then everything else comes in as an added extra. Obviously, Devlin's not quite as good on the switch, but at the moment, you're probably looking tonight the fact that Caleb's going to be up against him. He is missing a lot of height and weight in comparison. I do think he's a fantastic defender. But as you say, he's playing at an immense level. We're talking about a team that's 17-4, where we're 10-11. They've had no real injuries. They seem to be at almost tip-top condition. 90% of their guys available the whole season so far. So they've really had the time to get that ball rolling. Whereas we've been chippy. We've had bits coming, people going away, people coming back. I'd like to see us have a third center on the roster or a third big on the roster, even if it's from a G League team, just to make up the numbers tonight. Because again, I agree. I would much rather see Bam on him because Bam in the last game proved how fantastic of a defender he is once again. And I think we're second best defense in the league when he plays and like 27th in the league when he doesn't. It's the class difference is huge. And it's going to be a tough one. I don't expect anything crazy from the team tonight. I'd like to see us stay in it and more see these duos and the players develop their own games and the team develop as a whole. I don't expect anything crazy tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the Celtics. As much as I don't like praising the Celtics because they're not a team that the league sort of likes to praise, but fair play to them. I mean, 17-4, they just seem to be. I mean, yeah, you're right, Glenn. They've been healthy, which helps. But that team, that starting five with Smart and Horford and Jaylen Brown's been excellent. But Tatum playing at this level is ridiculous. The Miami Heat have improved defensively over the last stretch of games. They're back into a top 10 team now. I think they ranked 9th, I believe, in defensive rating. That's going to help. But Ollie, we've been playing a lot of zone, which is understandable because that's all we haven't. That's all we can do. And certainly against the Celtics team, you don't expect us to go man to man because we're just going to get cooked. But the problem here is even if you play zone against them, the idea of a zone is to make them shoot from mid range from free, and they can do that with this team. Jaylen Brown is ridiculous. So I don't really understand with no Butler tonight what the game plan is going to be to make this a Heat winner fundamentally. The only thing we can do is dig in and try and keep this close for as long as possible, and it might come down to just if we can get a run going, it might be enough. But what do you think tonight in terms of what the Heat are going to try and do to try and make this a victory if we can?
I think what you just said there, just about sticking into it. I think the longer, or as long as we can go into this game by frustrating Boston, just playing clever, basically. Obviously, if we go, like you said, if we go man to man, we're going to get blown out. Even if we go completely zone, we're probably going to get blown out because they've got so many intelligent players who are so offensively talented. They're the best team in the league. There's no other way of looking at it. Best offense in the league, best points differential in the league. So it's going to be tough whatever we do. But I think if we attack it from a sort of a Miami Heat culture kind of perspective, just get into them, get stuck into them, play not dirty, but be aggressive, just get in their face, try and disrupt the flow of their offense as much as we possibly can, which I know is going to be difficult. But with the likes of Bam, Caleb, we might see some Gabe Vincent minutes, I don't know, Dwayne Dedman. If we can try and just be as frustrating as possible for them and just to try and disrupt the flow as much as we can, we might be able to hold on or at least stick around and not make it too embarrassing by the time we get to the fourth quarter. But I'm like Glenn, I'm not expecting too much from tonight. I think it's just about seeing these guys develop and seeing the relationships come on and being in a hostile environment against the best team in the league. Let's see how they stand up and take that and how they respond and how they can move forward from it.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Heat will already be looking to Friday when we have Jimmy back, hopefully. So they'll play hard. Of course, they will say, and we know that that's what they do. They're never going to throw a game. And we've seen before that this team with minus its stars can compete with anybody. But this is a different level. I mean, the Celtics, they put up 140 points last game out without Jaylen Brown even playing. He was out. The team is just historically good right now. But to try and get anything out of this game, yes, we're going to need probably another Caleb game where he's been, another Max Strus game, something like that. But Bam absolutely has to be doing what he's doing. And so does Carl. He's been very excellent as well recently. Those two have really got to be just doing exactly what they've been. You're going to need another 30 points plus from Bam if we're going to have any chance of tonight, don't we?
Yeah, we need Bam to have a big night, putting the ball in the net and also on the glass. I mean, the last 3 games that we won on the trot, we out-rebounded our opponents, all 3 of them. Celtics right down there in terms of rebounds per game. With us, I think they're 0.5 rebounds per game more than us or something like that. So I feel like if we can conclusively, comprehensively win the battle on the glass, we'll have a better chance through second chance points that we generate. Also, their guard play has been ridiculous this season. I think all 3 of their guards are shooting like 50-40 or something ridiculous like that. Lowry needs to have a big night scoring and defending as well. We need both of them to really, really step up and both enter the floor because although our role players are really good, and they'll contribute for us and really help us win games, they can't single-handedly do that. We need our star players and we need our established max contract guys to really see this game as an opportunity to show why they are among the best in the league. Bam especially, he needs 30 and 12 again. Oh, I don't think we have a fighting chance.
Yeah, I make you right. Look, it's going to be a tough ask tonight, guys, but let's get some predictions in. Celtics, as I said, they're league leading in a lot of stuff. I agree with Ollie. They are the best team in the league right now. A tough ask. No Jimmy Butler. We played them again on Friday, hopefully with our star back. But let's get on to tonight. Glenn, kick us off, mate. What are you thinking?
It brings me great depression to say, but I think it's got to be the Celtics by about 14 or 15. But I'd be happy provided individuals make great plays and we see some at least highlight reel worthy clips for us. That's about all. It's just not a blowout. I think that's a very respectful. You go into Boston, you come back and it's negative 12 on the board. It's not the end of the world after with the rosters like it is.
Yep, no, fair enough. I was just looking up for the plus minus because on the spread because I didn't look at that. The Celtics are minus 9.5 on the spread, which feels about right. Ollie, we said we played them already. Game 2 of the season, we lost by 7. That was with Jimmy Butler mainly guarding Tatum. It still didn't work out. So, what do you think tonight? Any hope for the Heat at all?
I will say that I'm glad Glenn went first. Yeah, no, I'm pretty much in agreement with him. Yeah, if we can just keep it close, get some good content for Twitter, for some dunks and some high octane blocks and stuff like that. James is always just relentless in his positivity.
No, nothing else.
But yeah, no, I think it's tough. They're the best team in the league. We're struggling. We're missing guys. They're just in a rhythm right now. So yeah, like similar to Glenn, if we can hang around a 10, 15 point loss, I'll be satisfied. Get it back to Friday and go again.
It does feel like that. And also, one thing, Sam, I didn't mention, the Heat have lost their last 7 road games. And we haven't got our star, as we know, but we have won our last 3 games. Let's go from there. What are you thinking? Anything that the Heat can grab onto tonight?
It's kind of a formula for disaster, isn't it? I think everything kind of points towards us losing. But I feel like if we go out there and we really put effort in, we see good minutes from the undrafted low contract guys. I think I'll be happy with even a 15-point loss. I don't really expect anything, but look, at this stage of the season, it's an 82-game season. 1 loss on the board isn't really going to mean too much. As long as we go out there and we play with effort, we're actually engaged on both ends. I think we're going to lose by about 10 or 15 points, but we really just need to show that if we were healthy, that we could hang on Boston.
Yep. So Heat have won their last 3. Bam's been ridiculous. Carl's been great. Look, there's the Heat will always find a way to make a game competitive. We will take a 1-1 split from this series 100%, but tonight's going to be closer than what I think it could be. I think this could go down to a crunch run down the stretch. So with that being said, I'm going by Celtics by 5.
He Twitter clipped that.
I've changed my prediction, actually. I'm going to say Miami are going to win it by 1, and it's going to be on a reviewed Max Strus 3-pointer.
Where his foot is inbound.
Yeah.
Mate, I would absolutely love that. That'd be incredible. Quick one from James here. James is not feeling very well tonight, but thanks for tuning in, James. Heat don't lose 8 in a row on the road. It's all pointing to a Heat winning miles. Of course it is, James. Of course it is. Nothing else from James Stone. Guys, great to be back. Great stream. We are back again on Friday against the Celtics, so please tune in. We'll try and get back for that one. But great to have you all back. midnight tip tonight. Follow us at Miami Heat UK, of course. And yeah, who knows? We might see some good things. Let's take on some positives. But guys, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Follow us at Miami Heat UK. Subscribe to Miami Heat UK TV, and we'll see you on Friday to talk about Heat win, shall we? Take it easy, guys. Enjoy the game.